Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever daydreamed about building a cabin in the woods, installing some solar, hauling water in, and being totally off-grid, if you're in Chaffee County or surrounding counties, this video might be for you. Off-grid life is beautiful, but it's very challenging and can become exhausting. So I want to pull the curtain back on the aspects that nobody thinks about, and sometimes people glaze over: water issues, septic problems, winter access, limits to solar use, and lots of things in between. So let's get real here. My name is Jessica Chariton, and I'm a real estate agent in Chaffee County, Colorado, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, this is where we talk about real estate, lifestyle, and what it's truly like to invest, buy, sell in Colorado's mountain communities, especially Salida, Buena Vista, Poncha Springs, Nathrop, and lots of places in between along the Highway 50 corridor. If off-grid is calling your name, stay with me here. I want to help you understand what you might really be in for. To start with, off-grid generally means you are not relying fully on public utilities. Maybe you don't have grid electricity, there's not municipal water, and often it means a septic tank instead of a sewer. But in Chaffee County, off-grid isn't all or nothing, because a lot of folks have some hybrid setups, like they have solar with the occasional generator, but a grid backing that up, wells and stored water, and so on. So why do people go off-grid? Yes, there's freedom, view, privacy, less monthly utility costs, being closer to nature, and really sustainable living. But the cost of land in certain rural areas can be a lot lower per acre if you don't have that public infrastructure. What people don't usually reckon all of this with before they go off-grid is the topics that we're about to look at more closely. Water is life, and off-grid, water can become one of your biggest difficulties and risks. So drilling a well in a mountainous terrain can be really expensive anyway because of the depth that it needs to be at, rock and other variable geology, and the yield might be super low. So you want to test and talk to a local well driller that knows what's going on there. And also, water rights can sometimes be legally complicated. You could have spring or surface sources, but you need to consider seasonal flow and risk of contamination. So even if you don't think you need a well because there's water on the property, there might be legal permissions to use that surface water. And the other thing is, surface water doesn't always mean that there's underground water. When your water source is regulated, pumps, gravity feeds, and holding tanks need a pressure system, and that usually is electrically powered. So if the electricity isn't there, then the pump stops, or the pressure tank can't feed the pump. So that's tricky too. When well parts fail, it's very expensive to fix it. So you need to be prepared for that. Okay, next part is waste. This is not a fun topic, not something people usually need to dive into, but you do if you're going to be living in a place where there's no local sewer system. So these can also fail, and repairs and replacement can be tens of thousands of dollars. So you want to get that all checked out, and you want to plan for maintenance every year. You monitor your drain field, your leach field, to make sure it's not frozen or backed up. Monitor pipes, that they're well insulated so you don't have trouble. There are composting toilets if you don't have a full septic system, but those require daily and regular care, and they may not even be allowed everywhere under building and health codes. So you've got to look at permits and code compliance for the area. Even off-grid, you have to have a permit for a septic system, and health departments regulate that in all counties in Colorado. And not following the code can cause you real legal issues. Electricity is the most glamorous thing in the off-grid conversation. Solar panels, batteries, generators, but you'll need enough panel capacity and enough battery storage to get you through cloudy days, or times when the panels could be covered in snow depending on where they're out on the property. And storing power for off-peak times and seasons is really important. A backup generator can run on propane or gas, so solar isn't necessary to power everything with solar, but these can be really expensive, and fuel delivery can be tricky in winter months. So you've got to be considering all the pieces. Panels sometimes need to be cleaned off, those solar panels, so that they can perform optimally. And you want to know who's going to be servicing that. Do you know how to do it yourself, or do you have somebody qualified to work on panels? Okay, batteries that are powered by solar or even propane can be tricky when it's really, really cold, because it can reduce the life of the battery or the ability of the battery to work. So you've got to think about that. And you'll want to still use electrical in moderation. So use LEDs, efficient appliances, maybe don't use the dryer as often, and careful about heat pumps, and comfort trade-offs do exist. You've got to think about that. The biggest set of challenges I would say are probably snow, ice, and road access, because private or rugged roads for these off-grid properties, snowplows sometimes don't go there at all or don't get there for quite a while. So you want to have your own equipment to dig in and out, snow chains, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, some kind of plow on the front of a truck or a four-wheeler. And then you want to think about comfort in the property so that you have multiple heat sources like wood stove, propane, just have like multiple options lined up, and even like a space heater that runs off electricity. So this all means planning ahead for food, fuel, and propane, and even medical supplies, because if something breaks, like a generator or a heater, getting repaired or getting parts might take days at a time. Isolation and emergency response is kind of a big deal, because in winter conditions, like EMT or fire can have a hard time getting to these properties. So you've got to have a backup plan for getting out. It's not something we want to think about, but there is a local helicopter program, and you can subscribe to that, and that actually can be helpful too, because it's important to think about. It's not that expensive to pay for that yearly insurance so that you can have that help that you need if that happens to come up. So cost up front on land might be cheaper when it's off-grid, but when you add in road construction or road maintenance, solar panels, batteries, well maintenance, cisterns, septic, permits, compliance, it all can add up really fast. And zoning, building codes, and health department rules and water rights all have a part to play in this type of a property. So you need to really do your research, or work with someone that can help you do your research so that you know what your limits and restrictions are on that property. Also, something to think about is that homes far from utilities or with all of these out-of-the-box systems may have smaller buyer pools when you do go to resell. Some people just don't want to mess with all the off-grid stuff, and the resale value may reflect that risk, because a lot of buyers now just want like a plug-and-play house. They want to move in ready is the key phrase on, Zillow and stuff. So less immediate amenities and possibly less comfort, and then some of these tricky things can make a property difficult. But I don't want to talk you out of it, because there are some really amazing, wonderful, and super practical properties. If you want an off-grid checklist of what to inspect, permits that might be needed, what numbers to budget for like solar panels and all of those things, just let me know, put a comment below, and I would love to send that your way. Here's your piece of weekly Colorado real estate advice. If you're considering living off-grid, always start with the worst case scenario. If you have a plan under the worst case, you're going to be fine and everything will work easier. It's important to have that mindset when you're living off-grid and out in the middle of nowhere, because it can be a challenge, but also deeply rewarding. The freedom to do what you want with your property, the opportunity to have amazing connection with nature. It's an ongoing effort, but you need to accept the trade-offs. So if you're leaning towards this, let's talk through all of that.